Alright guys, so in this video here, I complain a little bit just like I usually do, so enjoy that. And if you don't, go ahead and hit stop and back out.
This video is brought to you in part by TruTech Tools. Quality tools, essential support.
What's going on, guys? So we've got us a system here that's low on refrigerant. Somebody was just up here and got this thing recharged, said they fixed all the leaks, but unfortunately they must not have because it went down again. We were running warm on our frozen meat case here, and I got it back down to temp. The alarm cleared out now. So what we've got, I went through with the Stratus, which this is where this really comes in handy. Come down here to our filter dryer area, and looky here. Yeah, so that was where the leak was supposed to be at the last time, and I'd say it's still there. And unfortunately, as you can see, it's not very easy to get into. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Look at that. So to get into that, as you can see, not going to be very easy because the idiots that installed this long ago put it right up against the freaking wall. Didn't leave you any room at all to get in there. You got all this room over here, and I'm sure there's a certain amount of feet you have to have for code stuff, but this thing's a freaking nightmare. No easy way to get into it. The thing is blocked no matter how you want to go at it. This is the old system they used to have, total old junk. It's been converted to the Emerson, which is what we use at all the stores. But as you can see, it's using the old control boards. So you got the conversion process. So we're gonna dig in, see if we can shut it down, get back in there and tighten that thing up. When somebody just tightens those up, generally they don't tighten up. They usually leak more. And as you can see, we had 1,000 some ppm on the left side, not on the other. Luckily, I was able to get my wrench on there because somebody had been rounding this off with a crescent, which, like I said, this stuff's old. So it was a company before us that really would have half-assed it the worst way possible by not getting out the refrigeration wrench. And if you're working on this kind of stuff, why wouldn't you have a refrigeration wrench? The edges are almost completely rounded off. That 100 pounds wasn't even filling up this bottom indicator right there. So we should be able to pump this whole rack down, no problems. Okay, it's slowly sucking it all down here. You can see head pressure's dropping. Both compressors shut off there, she shut down. And we filled up one bottom section there, but not even the second one. These racks get ran super, super stupid low. My plan here is to remove this cooling fan here, get it out of my way so that I can get back there to it, because there's no physical way I can get back to that. Thing that sucks about this rack is 460 volt, and so we pretty much got our pump down. I'm not dealing with what's live, what's not live. So we're just gonna go ahead and kill all the compressors, control voltages, all that crap. It's done, it's all done. So that should have taken everything out at the same time. So we're pretty much dead across the board. All the wires come out of here. Now, of course, the other racks will know that that has left the network. Okay, we just took out the two nuts, laid them off to the side. We got this pretty much out of the way. We're in here pulling the bolts out right now. So this white paper here is from the meat room. Put that over there to try to keep myself a little bit clean. Filter dryer was changed. I checked with the guy that actually changed that when he did the compressor. But it looks to me, you know, that you can see there's residual garbage falling down from above. And as soon as that gets into your seal's worthless. And I don't give a crap how tight you tighten that thing. It ain't gonna work. And to get that out of there, a lot of times you gotta use a pick and some torch, heat or whatever to get it out of there. But you can see how much that crap has fell down. You know, it's just not gonna work, man. You can't just tighten something up and think it's gonna fix it. It ain't gonna happen. And I see they don't even have a screen in this thing. That's great. Clean that off with some brake cleaner, and then we'll heat it up, we'll pick it out. I got some picks here. Should be in here somewhere, yeah. You can see what I got now. I got some nice Vito bags here that I got from TruTech Tools. Makes it nice and easy to find stuff. Zips open nice and easy. There we go. And then I can get my pick out of there, which got two nice picks here. We'll go ahead and just, like I said, heat this up a little bit. Definitely want to probably have a rag or a pair of gloves or something. And then we'll pick that out of there. There, it just takes a lot to get that thing to come out of there. And you can see that's probably 2 of them. That hook there works really nice. Just kind of plow it out of there. And then, like I said, you want to run some brake cleaner. You don't want to leave gouges in your aluminum. All right, looks like we got it pretty darn close. I've been in there scraping at it with this thing on the little edges there, and whatever's left, I can't really get any cleaner. So you just take off these little rings that are pre-cut, get it in there, good to go. Swap that out, screw it back together. These screws go right through it into the aluminum, slide her back up underneath there, so by the time you see this, it'll be back together. And it didn't help probably that somebody lost one of the nuts and put a regular nut on it, so I did find the square-headed nut, which was back in behind there. Got her all back together and all the seals are in there. Got both of them swapped out, good to go. And of course we put a little nylog in there in the groove, spread it out with my blade there. The biggest thing is tighten these bolts up equally and at the same foot-pounds. I use a torque wrench, which we're going to set this at 25 foot-pounds to 30 foot-pounds, I think is what it's rated at. We've zeroed out one time outside here, and like I said, when you're that contaminated, it tends to pick it up and it can reset on this device. But I went over here to my actual filter dryer. I got the actual valve open on the receiver. I'm getting nothing here at all. We're actually, like I said, right in the groove there, all around it. We are completely backed out. Down there's the valve, so we're backed all the way out. Okay, we're on high. Let's go down here again. If there's anything major, it should go berserk. I was checking down here by the couche clamps, nothing down there. Checking up here on discharge, nothing there. All the fittings, wanted to make sure of that. I'm getting a little something in cloud hunting mode, but like I've said, cloud hunting mode, sometimes it's not the fastest reacting. The big thing with these detectors is basically learn how to use it. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of crazy things. It ain't right, and if they just read the manual and use it, they would understand it. This is the cloud hunting mode is made for tracking things down in contaminated areas, but like I said, even if the area is completely contaminated, it'll get inside the unit and it's, ooh, we got something going on over here. Unless I covered up the, and there is a port here on the back. If you hit that port, there is something up here it does not like. Oh yeah, there we go. That's nice. All right, so we got the old AccuTrack out. Usually when things are really crazy and loud, this thing works really awesome. Didn't hear anything over here, however, I did find some bubbles on the actual 3-way valves. But yeah, it's leaking. You can see all the freaking oil and crap. So come on that 3-way valve. Yeah, we're going 9,000. It's not good, bud. We're having a bad day. She's having a bad day. Full blown, leaking like a sieve, and that would leak faster than anything. That's even higher than the freaking filter dryer. Those have got some Allen screws on them. I'm gonna see if I can tighten them up. I don't have a rebuild kit here, so we're gonna have to do what we can do because I've got another grocery store now that's having problems. I ain't got time to fiddle fart with this now. And guess who's on call still? Woohoo! Yes, sir, me. That's fantastic. Look at this happy Goliath. This one up here in front's leaking too. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. 2 monster leaks. Got that one leaking like a baby. And then you got this other one leaking back here at the back. Who needs a leak detector when you got bubbles? I mean, you know, $1,000 leak detector. We end up narrowing it down with bubbles. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Heck yes. My goodnesses, look at that. Ain't that ridiculous? So it wasn't just the one. We got 3 of them total we had. Don't see anything leaking up on that, so we'll see if we can find the right size. Hopefully I can tighten that up, but I doubt it. Yeah, it's not gonna work, dude. I tried to tighten it up. It's still leaking. Ain't no good way to get around it. Got to get a rebuild kit if they're still available. But yeah, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. That's some bad news bears right there. I kind of wondered if it would make a difference. So now that they're hot again, it's slowing it down tremendously. So this one right here is not even going off at all. Oh, wait a minute, let's try this one here. This one right here, got a little bit of a hit. I mean, it's in the hundreds range, which sucks for a normal leak. At least it ain't 9,000. This one right here was really bad earlier. It's going down. I guess we can order a rebuild kit. So it takes like an O-ring like that right there. I found it out in the driveway area. But yeah, we're gonna have to just let it run. I can't let this thing be down any longer. It was quite high, but we're already coming down below freezing on most of all of them. Yeah, it's a cooler, so yeah, we're below freezing on all the ones that are important. All the switches are back on, and we just got to put a cap on that. I wanted to check that for a leak, because that usually leaks. But we got one bottle left of juice. They provide their own refrigerant, so it's one of those things where I need to tell them they're going to have to get us another bottle, because these two are empty, this one's full. Got it all back together. It's leaking, but we're going to get those ordered. I got some numbers off of it. Moral of the story here is just make sure you don't stop with one leak and think you got it, because it's always usually another one. And not to mention tightening up that filter dryer, that don't work. All right, guys, that wraps this one up. Hope you enjoyed the. All right, we are back again. So last night at about 9:30, this box came up to 22, 23 degrees. I think something broke loose. So what I'm trying to do now is find out whether or not we've got refrigerant coming through here. So I can feel above here that it's actually warm on circuit 1. I had the guy last night check my sensor here, make sure that it was actually on. It was. We're gonna flip that, see if we go down. So flip. I think something broke loose and it's gonna get in the orifice. So either way, I'm gonna have to pump this thing down. That did not click that loud before. So what you gotta do, get in there and valve that little burger off there in the back, that liquid line. That's what this little T-handle thing is. If this thing was made for one of the bigger ones here, it'd been great, because getting down there to shut off that liquid line was a mofo. I think we're just gonna check it and see if it's plugged up either way. Let's go ahead and valve off that liquid. I'm gonna go in and check that screen on the TXV. So simple as that. We'll let that run for a bit, see if we can get, well, you can tell right now, I mean, we valved it off. That should be coming back on the suction side, and it's not. So that should be dropping pretty quick. We can check our suction here and see where we're at on that. So we got our suction hooked on there. As you can see, this right here is a sort valve. Basically, it's a valve that regulates the suction pressure coming back. So if you want this case to run warmer, you actually increase your suction pressure, which increases your suction saturation temperature, and it could actually be a cooler within reason. Obviously, these things have to be sized right and all that stuff, but you can control your temperature that way. Matter of fact, that's how most of these are actually controlled originally. The smoothest way to control these systems is to regulate your suction instead of turning on and off your liquid, because your liquid stops, then you end up having swings in temperature, whereas if you're using a sort valve, you won't have that. So right we got now, we're hooked on there. This thing's cranked all the way out. Our suction pressure is running 7 pounds. So we are definitely running plenty low suction. However, that head pressure, if you look at it there, we're still holding at 168. That should be theoretically be pumping down right now, sucking its way through. It's not doing it. So what we're gonna have to do is dump the liquid. I already bled my hoses all the way out through the yellow. We're gonna go ahead and dump that liquid into the suction, and we're gonna get rid of that liquid as best as possible here. And that way we can open that TXV up and clean the screen. Hopefully that's all it is. All that garbage we had in that filter dryer, came from somewhere. It's very likely it could have got caught in there, so that's what we're gonna find out. All right, we are still flashing off. Pressure's dropping quite a bit. So that's what I like about having a sight flash. You can actually see what's going on. We're just dumping it from there, dumping it into this suction header over here just because it had no restrictions at all. I thought maybe that would slow me down, but that's the speed of Schrader valves, unfortunately. All right, we got her down. Closed off our sort valve here, otherwise it'll bleed that high discharge. That discharge is used to regulate that valve there to keep the pressure where you want it at, depending on how you crank that screw in and out. So we've got that closed, and it should be good to go in there and do some work on it. All right, so TXV is pretty frosted up. That is classic sign of restriction. So I told them they just need to clear me a spot, but they're having this kid pull everything out. I'm not sure why, but whatever. So all we needed to do was loosen it up, and then the actual screen, as you can see, is packed full of crap. That thing is packed full of crap. So we'll flush that out with some brake cleaner, get her back together, and we should be good to go. This is easier when I have two hands. But yeah, get that all rinsed out like that, and then we'll shoot it from the inside out, which, like I said, I need both hands to be able to do that. What's funny is how well these screens actually catch more crap than what a filter dryer does. All right, this is the crap that I'm getting out of it when you're using the nozzle. I'm actually shooting it in there. That literally is getting that black chunks of crap, which is the crap that was back here at the filter dryer. This system's so flippin' dirty, it's not even funny, but this store is so old. There you can see that it's actually clean. You can see right through it. Good. All right, so I just blew through both sides. See if I can get anything that might be in there, whether you want to call it right or wrong. Then I got some nylog on there, and now we'll tighten it up and we'll run it. We got this backed out, got suction open, and let's go ahead and turn that liquid back on. Very good. So we will see what happens here. That should drop fairly quick, and we'll see where we end up coming in at. All right, it's only been about 2-3 minutes, and we're already at 28 degrees area. We can go in there and log that. We'll go into log because it's a little more quicker. Yeah, we can see we were at 32, 33, and we're already at 30. And currently, if you back out of here, we're at 27.92 or 82 and dropping. So let's go grab the ladder out of there, and we'll go ahead and go into setup here. I put my alarms back to the way they were. Defrost, only 20 minutes on this thing, which is kind of surprising. It happened at 8 o'clock in the morning, 4:45, and at 12 o'clock at night. So we don't need to mess with any of that right now. Everything's going good on that. And yeah, we're so far so good. It was kind of cool last night, you know, I'm able to look at the door switch. Off on this one is normally closed. So I was able to see him walk in there and open the door, and boom, I can see what's going on. You can also trend that, which is another reason why it's really nice. You go into your graph here, and you can see how often they got the door open, how long it's open, and that'll tell you whether they're leaving doors open. You can see that the frost pattern is kind of all the way back into the next set of loops, which tells you that it's feeding through there. And we made sure there's nothing rubbing into anything. I don't like the way some of this stuff's laying in here, but for the most part, it's fine because it's not hitting against anything to where it's going to rub through. So yeah, we'll spray that real quick and make sure it's not leaking, and then roll on. There's no way you can use leak detector in here now. So we can see yesterday went up, came down, went to defrost, came down, so you can tell it was restricted. It wasn't a loss of refrigerant, especially when you look at the other circuits and they were all fine. And this one was not having an issue at all. You zoom out, and she's been holding pretty good for several days. It was the closest one, so the crap ended up going there. So it'll happen again, sure of it. But we've done what we can do. I'm gonna say we'll watch this for a little bit, and then Should be able to get out of here. Levels are still not even really registering. Not much we can do about that other than add more, and I don't really want to do that yet because they haven't brought the extra ones yet. As far as the seals, we found them, they're ordered, and we're still waiting for that, so it'll probably be a day or two before they even get back to us. Kind of just checking out this other one because it was flashing the other day. It looks like it's fairly okay today. They run these all so low just because they get leaks so often they don't want to lose anything more than they have to. So that one there's got a full sight glass. Everything's going good over here. And as you can see, our temperature dropped completely down. We're already about almost 10 or 11 degree area, so we're looking good there. I think that's gonna wrap this up officially until we get back with the other seals. All right, so we're back to change these seals. We've got them right here. We've got enough for each one of these valves. So I just pumped the system down, had to cut this out so that I could get in there to it. This old inverter is not hooked up on the low voltage, however, or on the high voltage. However, the low voltage is still hooked up, and I'm not getting into that. I kind of tracked it into here, and they chopped most of it out, but they left the dang high voltage or low voltage in there. So we got the compressor shut off. Now we got to isolate it. We've got valves here on the after the separator. We've got this one here that comes up and goes back over there. Same thing here, the liquid, so we can valve it off right there. And then we'll just do there's a line actually right there that we're gonna valve off. And then we're gonna do them at the top of these valves here. So we'll go ahead and get things isolated here. Like I said, I just shut it down. Of course, it's gonna tell the other panels that everything's off. Gotta make sure you get all these pilot tubes or you'll have some refrigerant coming backwards through valves. That definitely use a backup wrench, holy mackerel. And we had one more right up there that goes through the valve from the receiver to the discharge. That allows the discharge gas to get into the receiver, build pressure up on low ambient. Everything should be closed now. Okay, so we got a generic set here from Harbor Freight. Found the one that'll fit, which I think is 9/64 or whatever. So we should be able to come in here, and like you can see right there, loosened up the fitting here and here. Really not much came out. All right, so this comes off the end of it here. You can see we've got flat plate, the circle cut out right here. That goes to the O-ring that's right there. This here is the big piston that goes back and forth. There's the circle cut out there that matches up with this. This keeps that so that all stays in there and doesn't rotate. That goes back and forth, letting the gas come up through this way or that way, and then come back on the other direction. So this shifts back and forth. I'm gonna clean that up with my wire brush wheel very gently, just to get some of that residual garbage off there. That piston acted like it was under pressure, which we had to bleed off a little bit there, but like I said, there's no freaking ports in there to take anything off, so all I did was off of these here, but it does not appear that it really did a great job. Gee, I wonder why it leaked. Look at this seal. I tried peeling it out of there. That thing is hard as heck. It's flat as heck too. These ones here are the ones that were leaking pretty bad. You can see that thing just shifts back and forth. See that? That little thingy lines up to it. It was kind of stuck. I had to give it a couple taps to get it to go through. And you can kind of see the port right there. That's how that goes through, and that pressure, depending on that solenoid, pushes it one way or the other, and the other side releases, lets it go to the suction side, to let that shift back and forth. I'm not pulling it all the way out because I don't know if it'll come out. Yeah, it ain't that bad. About as far as it wants to go. Kind of hits a little spot there. So we're gonna leave that alone, but that's what we got right there. All right, so we've got her cleaned up here. There we go. So put her back on there. You can see we got that face plate there. I don't really want to squirt nothing in there to clean it like brake cleaner like normal. I'm just kind of leery of that, something falling down in there. Not doing that. We got this all cleaned up. You know, and the wire brush wheel, it's stainless steel, but yet when you're not pushing stupid hard on it, it does a great job. Okay, got that one there all cleaned up. Got that cleaned up. Gotta hit the other side yet. Such a great design. I really wanted to remove this thing, but like I said, it's in the way. I didn't want to unhook that low voltage or control voltage wiring that was in there. All right, so we're pulling it back on it now. It's going up through here. Now my worry was, am I going to get through all these different passages? It's highly unlikely. Thought about trying to go through some of these. So what I think I'm going to do, once I pull it back on it, I'm going to break a little bit of hot gas in there, purge it to each one of these, just to make certain we got it all out, and then kind of go from there. But we're trying to do our best we can on it. They really should have put a little stem in it, like that right there. I thought about doing it, but it's like, I don't know. It really should have been done to begin with. I thought that, or you could have even done it through possibly one of these here. All right, so we pulled it back on all of it, ended up checking a couple of the fittings. So what ended up breaking it back here, opened up one of my high side lines down there, bled anything residual back to here. What didn't come that way, then I opened up some of these ones at the top. It went through, back fed through the valves and out through here, and then tightened it up. Basically same as bleeding your hoses. They really should have put some valves in there. Went ahead and sprayed everything down. Nothing is bubbling. Got all my valves here opened up. One back up over in there. The one down back behind here. So they're all open. Ready to turn it back on and hopefully be good for at least a day or two until it goes wrong again, something else. Because these things are pretty beat up. Pretty beat up. So get our compressors on. Turn on our control, which is what that is. Emerson's booting up. Somebody must have wired that fan to run all the time, which ain't gonna hurt nothing, but still it's kind of stupid. This is one of my favorite controllers out of the ones I've worked on. I mean, only done about 2 or 3 different ones, but this right here is kind of the one I like the best. It's the most friendly. Okay, she is one compressor on, everything's warm. 12 on the bakery freezer, 38 on coffins. Coffins are kind of a pain because they lose their temperature really fast because there's all dependent on air bands. Then we can go into setup and see where our defrosts are at. 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, so that's gonna be happening here in a half an hour, unfortunately. So we'll stay and we'll watch this stuff. So we'll go ahead and continue to go through and we'll watch, see what happens here. We're gonna add a little more refrigerant to it because like I said, this thing's pretty low. Oh yeah, it would help too if I turn some of the circuits on. There we go. We just added probably 50, 70 pounds, something like that. I didn't weigh it. We're finally at about what I would consider probably the 10% mark. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, whatever. That's usually the highest we want to take it. We don't ever take it up to the second one. It just came into that ballpark. One of the circuits are actually in a defrost, which was our bakery freezer here. I went ahead and let it do it. It's hot gas. One of the things I do when I am checking hot gas defrost, like this one right here is in it. So what you've got is discharge gas coming in from that solenoid there into this T, goes out on the suction line, comes back on the liquid line. One of the things you want to watch out for is that you don't have hot gas coming down here to the suction header. Because if you had hot gas recirculating into the suction header, you can wash out your oil, cause all kinds of problems. I think we talked about it before. Basically, a valve over here usually energizes. It's right on the discharge, so you got your oil separator, and it comes into this valve here. That valve gets energized, it holds back the pressure, basically forcing more pressure on the discharge line, lowering the liquid line pressure. And then that way, you actually have a differential of say 20 pounds, 25 pounds, that allows that liquid to go out to the case, or I should say the hot gas go out to the case, come back on the traditional liquid line, and then return to the rack to be used throughout the rest of the system. But you can see this one here is so much easier to see what's going on. This is your A8 valve, and then this should be your A9 down here on bottom. What that does, like I said, you can see it's coming off the discharge gas, comes down and dumps it right into the receiver to bring your pressure up. this is kind of the weather where you would check it at. Usually we don't screw with it unless there's an issue going on. If there wasn't a problem, you may create a problem. Haven't had to do a lot with them. They generally just work. And then, like I said, here's a better example. You can see that valve. That gets energized when the valve is in into a defrost. We should have a circuit here in defrost. Yep, right there's one. So that one's in defrost. As soon as that comes out, that should de-energize and then let full flow go through. Right now it's holding it back, slowing down the discharge. This is a little easier to see what's going on. You can see here, it comes up to the bottom. It either goes to the normal condenser or it can go to the heat reclaim. And then when it goes to the heat reclaim, it comes back, boom, then on to the normal condenser. There's the normal condenser. Now it can go to the split condenser. And what that does is either feeds both sides of the condenser or only one side of it, reducing the size of your condenser to keep your head pressure up. That way you don't have to cycle the fans any more than you need to. At some point, the fans don't cut it. As you can see here, we only got 2 fans on. That's based off of your pressure that you set. So you want to maintain 225 here, for example. It's going to automatically adjust for that. So you can see the split is active, meaning it's not using the full condenser coil. Fans got 1 and 2 on. Usually fan 1 would be your closest to your header. If they wired it that way, that's the way it should be. The closest to the header always is the last one to shut off if it ever does shut off, which they eventually do. And then kind of work your way out further. Outside air temperature, 23 degrees. It's going to get really bad next week. It's going to get down to the single digits to 18 area range. So that's just a little shortcut to kind of show you what's going on. But that's going to wrap things up. This has been a long video. You can see how it's still there at a higher level. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Just what I'm doing today. It's Friday. Next week I'm off. I'm going to a consumer electronics show out in Vegas, and then I'll be at that's going to pretty much leave me no videos, so I'll have to pull something up that I have already. Following month I'll be at AHR, and I'll be down there for at least 2 to 3 days down there. Other than that, guys, that wraps it up. Till next time, we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.